Hey, it's Big T. Today I am going to tie a really simple fly, but a super deadly fly, a Marabou Leech. I'm going to start with a size 8 jig hook and a 4.0 slotted red tungsten bead. I really like these red beads on anything that might have some movement on it. And this is a fly that you can certainly dead drift, but it's one that I like to jig if I'm Euro nymphing, or flat use like a streamer at times, or fish on the swing. I'll use that red bead on woolly boogers, things of that nature as well. This is a 70 denier Danville chartreuse thread. I like that just because it's going to create a nice hot spot for us up at the collar. And then this is Nature Spirit Premium Boogerboo. This is a Marabou that I like to use for this particular fly because the stem seems to be a little bit thinner. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to preen back some of this Marabou to leave me a little bit of a V over here for a tail. And I'm going to tie that in about the length of the hook shank. And what I'm going to do is come over top a few times, wrap underneath, back over top and in front. What that's going to do is really lock that thing in so I don't get it to roll. The next step may or may not be necessary. It will make this fly a little bit more durable. But I skip it a lot of times as well. And what I'm going to do is just take this feather and actually wrap it around the thread about 4 or 5 times. And then once I've done that, I'm going to hold the thread and the stem of the fly, and I'm going to start palmering that up. I'm preening some of these fibers back as I wrap this up to the top of the hook behind the bead. And once I've gotten up here, I'm going to pull this thread back over top of the stem and wrap it a few times in front. This is a good time if you've got a pair of junk scissors, which I like to keep around for trimming my wires. I'll trim that Marabou stem just because it is a little thick at the top. And then go ahead and preen back. I like to make sure I wrap behind that stem a couple times just to really secure that in. And then I'm going to continue to build this thread up behind the bead to make a pronounced hot spot that's chartreuse in color. So we've got a nice red bead followed by a chartreuse collar, and then finally our black Marabou. Little zap-a-gap on the thread. Wrap that in a couple times and then secure it finally with about a 5-turn whip finish. Whoops. And it is hard not to get a little bit of that Marabou trapped in there when you're doing your whip finish. But that'll do it. Super simple, but that fly right there is very effective. It's got a ton of movement in the water, and I think you'll find that to be something you'll want in your tackle box, particularly for days where the water's off color or if you've experienced some rain on your watershed. I appreciate you watching. You can find these materials and more at bigtflyfishing.com.